Tonight, frustrations reach boiling point over a controversial mining bill and a major road safety operation for Port Augusta.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. Regional South Australian farmers remain frustrated that the South Australian Parliament has passed a controversial mining bill through the lower house. The state government reassuring residents it's committed to locking in benefits for both the agricultural and mining industries.
Eyre Peninsula's two biggest industries, mining and agriculture, generate over $1.5 billion for the region. But now these two industries are butting heads over South Australia's proposed mining bill.
The new mining bill, the amendments to it, there's no real protection for agricultural land, which we really do need.
Bronte Gugurke is a farmer on the outskirts of Tumby Bay. He watched on at Parliament House while the bill passed the state's lower house earlier this month.
We were very glad that there were 7 people across the floor to oppose the bill. So if they didn't do that, well, we wouldn't be going on with this process and hoping we can get a say with the Liberal government.
Members of the agriculture industry concern the bill offers little protection for farmers against mining companies wanting to access their land. But the state's mining minister says there are securities in place for farmers.
We're looking at doubling the time that an exploration company would need to give notice to ask to enter land from 3 weeks to 6 weeks.
Mr Gugurke claiming farmers across the Eyre Peninsula haven't received any consultation from the government.
They've promised consultation, but there's been no public consultation over here. There's been no consultation with the Stop Invasive Mining Group.
The Eyre Peninsula is one of our most important agricultural areas in the state. Agricultural people, growers, farmers, graziers, etc., they will all have another opportunity to provide their views and their perspectives.
There's no set date for when the bill will be tabled in the upper house, and until then the fight will continue. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police are putting dangerous drivers on high alert, saying there'll be more blitzes similar to the one undertaken west of Port Augusta today. Authorities are increasing their focus on regional roads following the closure of the Eyre Peninsula Rail network.
A surprise operation aiming to catch drivers off guard.
Morning, sir. Drug and alcohol testing site.
The Eyre and Lincoln Highway is covered from every angle at Lincoln Gap as authorities ramp up their crackdown on dangerous drivers.
Today's operation is a multifaceted operation targeting driver testing, vehicle inspections, drug testing and illicit drug transport.
20 uniform officers as well as sniffer dogs searching for potential threats of illegal drugs, in addition to heavy vehicle inspectors checking trucks and their loads for any faults.
That they're tied down correctly and compliant and they're safe on the roads.
Roads in the Eyre Peninsula have seen an increase of heavy vehicle movements after the closure of the region's grain rail network. That closure sparking the renewed safety focus from authorities. Later this afternoon, the sting had already caught 8 drug drivers, 5 people in possession of cannabis, while 42 defect notices were issued, including a B-double truck which was deemed too unsafe to return to the roads. And drivers beware. SA Police say this operation is just the first of many on the Eyre Peninsula over the next 12 months.
There is opportunities at any time, night and day, for them to be stopped, for them to be checked, for drugs, for alcohol, to check the compliance of their vehicles.
GARTH BURLEY, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police in Whyalla are warning residents to remain vigilant with their valuables following a recent spike in property theft across the town. Power tools are among some of the items that locals have reported stolen.
This is the Street Police allege power tools, including a Johnson & chainsaw and Barmer whippersnipper, were stolen from an unlocked shed in Whyalla Stewart.
That was stolen over a period of time. So that's why I'm saying we really like people to lock up their properties and also keep an eye. Have a look around your property regularly. Smaller items such as bikes, tools, toys and gardening equipment deemed to be the easiest targets to steal. In Whyalla, we are unfortunately seeing an increase in easy-to-take items being grabbed or wheeled away, stolen by opportunistic thieves. We'd really like the community to help stop this. Police say they are working to decrease the level of property theft in Whyalla. The increase we are seeing is slight. but it's something that we pick up on with our intelligence fairly quickly. And so we change our practices around it, and we ask the public to also help in these situations.
Police reminding residents to contact police or Crime Stoppers if anything out of the ordinary is witnessed or if anyone has information on stolen items.
You don't even need to say who you are. This increases the chance of victims getting their rightful property returned to them.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The state government says foster children across the state are benefiting from a change to extend carer payments for young people until the age of 21. Since the program was launched in January, it's been accessed by 17 young people, with many more becoming eligible over the next 3 years. The government says the program allows children to transition into adulthood without financial burdens. The annual meeting at Port Lincoln's Chamber of Commerce has heard a remarkable story from a local business owner, Richard Scott from the Boston Bean Coffee Company, last night sharing his experience of running and growing a business on the Eyre Peninsula, providing his advice to anyone wanting to start their own company.
Do your homework, prepare and plan, and get a mentor.
Scott and his wife have been running Boston Bean for the past 4 years, the team already winning a national award for its brew last year. Organisers of the Silverton Sunsets Music Festival say they will continue to look for major sponsors to bring the event back to life. The 2020 event had to be cancelled due to a lack of funding just weeks before tickets went on sale.
It hasn't been completely abandoned, just postponed. Only weeks away from tickets going on sale, the decision was made to defer the 2020 Sunsets Festival. Finances a major factor in the rescheduling. The event no longer eligible for incubator support. It would have to seek event funding.
And it's a totally different criteria. We're in with the big boys, as you might say. We're competing with venues and functions all over the state.
Mr Price says the cost just to apply for the funding was into the thousands, with no promise they'd receive anything. Add to that having to bring management and marketing staff on board, and the line was in the sand.
You need to make a decision sometimes, and hard decisions, and this is one that we haven't done with a light heart. It's been a very difficult.
The funding goes towards covering the costs of the artists, which in previous years included John Williamson and Troy Cassadaly. The festival is hoping to secure a major sponsor to revive the event.
I hope in some ways that this negativity turns into a positive attitude to it all, and someone might come along, Patrick, and say, yes, let's get involved with these guys.
Mr Price says the sun has not completely set on the festival.
Far from setting. It's behind a cloud at the moment, just sitting there waiting to pop out full bloom in 21.
Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Clare Valley is set to receive access to cutting-edge technology, with the South Australian Government announcing new funding for tech startups in the industry. The program, called Ferment SA's Wine and Tech Revolution, will focus on supporting the development of the state's $2 billion sector. Industry Supplier has previously said it hopes to see the program increase competitiveness in the global wine market. Still to come tonight, a show set to entertain the masses in Broken Hill, and Guitars and Bars preparing for its event in Port Augusta. Welcome back. Broken Hill musical lovers are invited to follow the yellow brick road to a local production of The Wizard of Oz. The show opens on Saturday night and features a cast of over 30 talented drama students.
It's considered one of the greatest films in cinema history.
In trouble or in pain. With the thoughts you'd be thinking you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
80 years on, and Theatre 44 is hosting a reimagining of the classic musical fantasy.
In trouble or in pain. With the thoughts you'd be thinking you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
It's been going for about 3 months, I suppose. There's been a lot of work done. On all parts.
The Wizard of Oz follows the story of Dorothy Gale, played by ESTELLA, NAGAS, and her dog Toto, Edrin Burrows, and their journey to Emerald City to find the Wizard of Oz. Along the way, they meet iconic characters like Tin Man and Scarecrow, all while avoiding the Wicked Witch of the West. ESTELLA says to be portraying the role made famous by Judy Garland in 1939 is a bit nerve-wracking.
I'm so excited. A bit nervous, but definitely keen. It's very colourful, full of action and singing and dancing, and you'll see lots of different people and different events.
Estella says her and her fellow characters have been rehearsing at school when they get the chance. The younger ensemble members, many playing munchkins, are part of the Moxie drama group and glee classes that meet every week.
They're learning a lot, and amazing how much confidence they get through the year.
The production opens at 7 o'clock Saturday night at Theatre 44. Tickets can be purchased at the door. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
An art director in Whyalla says the next round of country arts funding is crucial to support local artists and organisations. Previous Whyalla recipients of the program are now performing statewide, such as the Defaces Area 53 production.
Ended up winning them a Ruby Award and taking to the Adelaide Fringe. So you never know where these things can lead. We've got a few projects going on from the last round here in Whyalla.
The full criteria can be found on the Country Arts website, with applications for the grants closing mid-August. The 49th Whyalla Show is just around the corner, with a comedy showcase set to be held after the traditional fireworks display. The Show Society president says the committee is trying to think outside of the square, with the event growing bigger every year. The show will kick off on the 17th of August, and information can be found online. Pubs in Port Augusta will be filled with live music this weekend for the Amarwarra Downtown, an event showing off talent of Indigenous musicians. Organisers hoping it could spark a return of live music to the town.
Building off the success of Adelaide's Guitars and Bars Festival, Port Augusta will get its own taste of the music scene. Local broadcaster Amarwarra Media adding the best homegrown artists to the lineup.
Got people from Corn, so you get the Adnyamatna people up there. Plus, if you got a bit of Nukunuya and some local Bungala people here as well.
What we're doing with the Amarwarra Downtown is to be able to give that opportunity to First Nations people.
A variety of free performances will plug into 9 venues across 2 days, catering for all music tastes.
We've got music from country music to sort of a bit of rocky music to a bit of R&B hip hop.
Organisers say there is plenty for the whole family to enjoy, including a hip-hop workshop for the region's youngest songwriters.
I think get people out there to enjoy music, great music.
This is the inaugural year of Amarwarra Downtown, and it's aimed at being a step towards returning Port Augusta nightlife to its former glory.
Live music. It was there before, it's gone. We need to get it back.
The action will begin tomorrow from 4 p.m. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Copper Coast is set to become more canine friendly, with Council announcing plans to open up a number of new dog parks. $60,000 has been allocated to the project out of Council's recent $1 million funding from the Drought Communities Grant Program. The project will be in Kadina, Wallaroo and Munta. Tumby Bay's latest monument is said to give visitors a flashback into the town's history. The Pioneer Tower honouring the district's mining, shipping, agriculture and community, with 4 glass panels set to be installed on the sides of the structure. The original tower was built in 1978 but was bulldozed in 2013 due to safety concerns. The tower was entirely funded by local community donations and grants. Stay with us after the break. We'll have your fish and tips, and Britt will have all the weather details. Hello again. Let's hear from the experts with this week's Fish and Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's fantastic news we have this particular week for King George whiting. If you want to catch them, you head a little bit further south. So I'd say that around the Port Broughton area and around the Woods Point area, you should be able to find yourself a bag. So there's all good sized fish there as well. When we come around to Port Pirie, we've still got plenty of salmon floating through the creeks and lots of small pan-sized snapper on the local drops as well. So what you do need to do is work on how you get there with the tide and be a little bit patient. You will get yourself a good feed. That's all we've got. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, beautiful calm time of the year at the moment. The slime's just starting to lift as well, so the King George whiting should be a little bit easier to target. Trying the shallower grounds when the tide's up a little bit. There are some big kingfish up around the train bridge at the top of the Gulf. Have been some big salmon caught up around the Port Patterson, Chinaman, or down to Chinaman's Creek as well, and a couple of large snook in there as well. And that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln.
Well, locally there's been a few whiting down in Proper Bay, a little bit scattered, so you will have to move around, but they're generally good fish. There's also been a few squid through that area too, and also a few snook through Proper Bay. There's been some better whiting reports from down the passage, so Carcass Rock, McLaren's and Taylor's have all had whiting on their day. And down on the south coast of Port Lincoln, the surf beaches have been a little bit tough lately with the big swell, but there have been some salmon further up the coast. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
Now let's take a look at the weather. Here's Britt.
Good evening. It's been a mostly cloudy day about the region with maximums a couple of degrees above average. Port Augusta and Whyalla both reached 20 degrees today. It was 18 at Broken Hill and Port Pirie, 17 at Port Lincoln and Adelaide. To the skies now where clouds streamed across the Gulf today. And let's look at tomorrow. Southerly winds on the waters at 15 to 20 knots and the sun will rise at 17 minutes past 7. It's going to be a wet one tomorrow with showers forecast across the region, apart from Broken Hill remaining dry but cloudy with a top of 19 degrees. Port Augusta also looking at a max of 19, 17 the lucky number for Whyalla, Woodner, Corn and Port Pirie, 15 for Port Lincoln, Cleve, Kadina and Adelaide, Coffin Bay 14, Clare 13. Moving ahead to the weekend now, Saturday looking cloudy at Port Lincoln with showers expected Sunday and Monday. Much the same at Cleve with heavier falls to start the new week. Woodner partly cloudy on Saturday with rain expected Sunday, lighter showers on Monday. Whyalla looking fine on Saturday with showers on Sunday, rain on Monday. Port Augusta with a dry and mostly cloudy weekend with heavy falls expected on Monday. Kadina partly cloudy on Saturday, Sunday showers, Monday rain. Port Pirie and Clare both fine and partly cloudy to start the weekend ahead of showers on Sunday and rain on Monday. Broken Hill remaining dry with a partly cloudy weekend. So we've got a wet day ahead of us tomorrow, Lou. I think I'll stay inside and count down till the weekend.
Sounds like a great way to pass the time. Thanks for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us today. We'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.